Yeah. I try not to start them all the same, but I'm always like plopping in.
Here we go.
Lindsey Boss.
Thanks for having me.
Let's chat.
Let's chat.
I feel like I have to say that.
You have to.
Every
it's
time
the name.
too.
It's the name of the podcast.
It's the catchphrase. Let's chat, everyone.
Chat.
And I'm also trying to do more.
Breaking
the fourth wall.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, so Lindsey Boss, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I love the drive here, by the way. I just want to say that. Because I grew up in Bryantville, so I get to drive through Bryantville Center.
Oh,
which
okay.
I love any reason to drive through.
What town were you coming from?
Plymouth. I live in North Plymouth. Yeah,
Yes.
so I just go straight through all the way down and drive through Bryantville.
I know. Nice, like, little drive through the woods.
I like it.
I'm always so happy when people are okay with coming out here because, I mean, the South Shore's relatively small, but I'm kind of like backwoods South Shore.
Yeah. It's still considered South Shore, though, right?
Yeah.
I always wondered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it is. And yeah, I think I'm not actually sure about all the towns that encompass it. It's interesting. You see it sliced up different ways.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, regionally, I think so.
It's officially.
You're in what? Not the South Shore. Plymouth that's the South Shore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. It probably stops on the Cape at some point.
Right.
Even the Cape might be considered South Shore.
I mean, if it's on the shore.
I guess we have to research.
I know. We're going to have to look into this to figure out where we live. Step one. But yes, but in the woods, not exactly on the shore, but a short drive. Yeah, to Whitman from the shore.
Easy.
Okay, so I want to get your Instagram and website out right at the top.
Okay.
While we're talking, because I'm going to be, talking about your art and just like, I guess I should probably do this with all the artists, but like, it's very image heavy. So Lindsey Boss, it's LINDSEY _ Boss, BOSS.
Yep. Just my name.
Great. I love that. You got that. And then also you got lindseyboss.com.
I did. Yep.
Fantastic. Way to go.
Yeah. Easy.
The
I
hyphens
always
are tough.
wanted to keep it just my name.
Yeah.
Just no confusion.
Exactly. This is what I've always done, like Beth Bailey. It was like Beth Bailey Pottery. I just kept it as that. That was easy. But then Creative Pathways started. And I'm like, okay, I had to do creative hyphen pathways. But then also it's like figuring out how all these things come together.
Yeah.
It's like just sticking with your name.
Yeah, I think so.
That's especially for a visual artist like yourself. So you're a collage artist and a sign painter. So fun.
Trader Joe's.
What do you think about my new sign painting I've been doing on
I
Windows?
love that you're doing it.
I think you could do it too.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing window painting?
So I have done some side jobs. There was one that did involve window painting, and I was going to talk to you about that because I feel like did you do it from the inside? And like,
yes.
Yeah.
So
that was the challenge.
Yes.
Planning out, kind of, I don't know if we did it the same way, but I like planned it out on paper first, put that on the inside, and did it, traced it basically from the inside.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what I did too. So it
did you
took
feel
me...
like when you did it, you were just winging it too?
Yes.
Just figuring it out. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I felt like it was a lot of, it reminded me of sign painting at Trader Joe's. So Trader Joe's is where you do sign painting. That's where I did sign painting. And a lot of that like mapping out, like I remember on the big signs that would be making, I would be using, chalk and different things to kind of get my lines right. Be like, okay, if this is the top of the letter and then the bottom of the letter, and then if I want like the midpoint of the letters to be a little low. So I just kind of like use that same measurement system.
Yeah. I think it's the same idea.
Yeah.
Just blocking out the space.
That's great. I love it.
I guess the glass was harder because there's no chalk involved.
Exactly.
So I had to like plan it on paper first. And I've done a lot of like random little kind of sign jobs throughout the years on top of Trader Joe's.
And so how long have you been doing sign painting at Trader Joe's?
Going on 19 years.
No way.
I worked on the floor like yourself, like as a crew member for 2 years before I was still in MassArt. When I got the job at Trader Joe's, just working on the sales floor, and definitely had my eye on that position. And then once I graduated, I actually had an interview for it, even though I was already in the store, and I didn't get it.
Okay.
And I just obviously kept working there. And then a spot opened up again. It's very coveted, as you also probably know. That position is...
Well, and you were at the Brookline store, right?
I was.
Is that where you started, in Brookline?
Yeah. Yes.
So that's I would say even more so, because it's already such a big arts community, super busy store.
Very artistic crew as well. So
I didn't have the same amount of competition. I really didn't, because I was working at the one in Hanover. So when I started, I was also, working the floor at Trader Joe's. I was at the end of my career at MassArt, like very similar.
Yeah.
And then Emily Lincoln, a beloved local artist who sadly passed away several years back. Yes.
Oh, really?
But she was working as a sign painter for years. That's where I met her, working there.
Okay.
She's so cool. She's just like the funniest and the best. And I'm actually working on another project with her husband.
Really?
Yeah, Matt Tanner. He and I are working on a big mural project for Situate High right now. So it was so cool. Yeah, Emily and Matt, when I first were getting to know them, like, I think they bought like the first painting that I ever sold.
That you ever sold.
And I remember negotiating with them,
special.
and I kept saying a lower price, and they were saying a higher price. So we're like, no, value your work.
That's still how it goes.
So she was an early supporter, and then when she got a job, she was going to teach art at South Shore Charter School.
Okay.
Which she was so psyched about. She loved that school. And so she kind of helped me scoot my way into that position. There really wasn't a big... there wasn't a lot of competition for it. Like, I don't think anyone else on the staff was maybe making art, so they think they would have had to try to bring someone else in.
They start like from within, I think, usually, I will say. So,
I may have been the only option. I don't know. But I remember Emily getting me in there. Yeah. And of course, I had made it known that I wanted it. And I remember... just randomly, I was on the floor one day, and they were like, "Hey, can you go make a sign for da-da-da?" And it was almost like a little trial.
Yeah.
And I remember being up in the studio, with Emily, and she was just like, I was showing it to her, and she really wanted me to succeed. So she gave me like a little pointer on like, okay, so you have it the blue and then the red, but like if you just do this white line kind of through to separate those two colors.
Yeah.
And it was just like some of those little early tricks, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of winging it, but I can do this.
It is a lot of winging it.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like the theme of everything probably that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like just a lot of winging.
Oh my God, hello. These are our microphones made out of toilet paper rolls.
Should I be holding it this way?
Well, I don't know. Originally I was thinking it would look nicer like this. Yeah. And I think I hold it too close to my mouth sometimes. I'm like, I don't have an audio engineer. I need a Scotty Ray. Scotty Ray is the sound engineer on the Frame Center podcast.
Oh, okay.
And it's like so professional. Everything sounds so good.
It sounds very professional.
But I'm like, I literally had the idea to start doing these interviews like in the beginning of December. And then I come up with like I want a half-formed idea, and then I fully execute. Mm-hmm. That's sort of what I've locked in as my business model.
That's the way you work. Yeah.
For everything.
If that works for you, that's... Yeah, it
like
works.
Just one foot in front of the other, keep the jobs coming in. Yeah. Okay, so I want to go way back, because one of the things I'm really interested in is like early arts exposure. Mm-hmm. So did you grow up in Plymouth?
I grew up in Pembroke.
Oh, cool. Even closer. I grew up in Hanson.
Lake. Yes.
Neighbor towns.
Very close.
Yeah. Okay, so you went to Silver Lake. I did. And then how about like growing up, were your parents artsy? Did you have any like arts exposure, any extracurricular art classes or anything like that as a kid?
They were always supportive of it. So they did, I wouldn't say they weren't artists themselves, but there was always a lot of music at home. Cool. And they're always supportive of, I think it's just always been what I've liked to do.
Yeah.
Just always been drawing and everything since I was little. So they definitely signed me up for even just arts and crafts. I remember I took an oil painting class when I think it was oil and acrylic with someone in Duxbury. She does a lot of work.
Bettina Lasore?
Bettina, yeah.
Oh.
That was one of my first like very serious art classes.
She is a gift.
Yeah, I haven't seen her since.
She's still teaching as far as I know.
She is.
And I know that she still has the same space.
I see her work still at North River and in Duxbury.
So many people have learned from a young age painting with her that I find. That's like an early start for a lot of people who have continued with the art. So shout out to Bettina Lasore.
Shout out. I wish I could see her. I haven't seen her.
Stop in. Yeah, you should pop by.
She still have the same house, like right near
Far's little ice cream shop and
center.
Yeah, and she's got a sign out front. Yeah, so check out her hours or whatever. But she's still there. Amazing studio space. Just like it's such gorgeous landscape paintings that she makes. And then
is it oil or acrylic?
I think she's oil.
Okay.
Yeah, really cool program she has. So that's awesome. That's a huge thing. I did I had a home studio opportunity as a kid where there was a woman named Betty Archer. She was a watercolor artist in Hanson. And so as a kid, I remember getting to go there to do paintings. And I must have been like middle school-ish age. And I remember like having the big paper portfolio and carrying all my supplies. Exactly. So as a kid, were you also drawn to like the office supplies aisles at CVS or
just everything? Paper, any kind of paper, notebooks. Just everything.
And so you're doing classes with Bettina, and then in high school, were you doing art classes in high school? And how did that transition into college? Did you go to MassArt right?
I did.
Out of high school?
I did.
Okay, so you're in high school and building a portfolio.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did have I don't know if it was called AP art, but it was you had to like also have a little interview for that too, to get into your senior year, to get into the art class. If you knew you were pretty serious about going to art school, then they would help you kind of with your portfolio. So a lot of work that we did was geared towards what you would need for your portfolio, which was really helpful.
Yeah.
And then I would do stuff at home still too, just because I've just always
making.
been doing it. Yeah.
That's so cool that they had that program at your high school.
Yeah.
I don't think they had anything like that.
And I'm like, oh, okay, not every school had that. And then going to MassArt was, I don't know if you found this too, I learned that some high schools taught digital as well, which that blew my mind because I still am not good with the digital stuff, but like getting to college and learning that a lot of them had already been using Photoshop.
Wow.
And I was like, what is that?
That's interesting. Yeah. So that had to have been, were you up there like 2005, 2004?
Yeah, 2004.
Okay. Yeah, so I had, I did not go to art school right out of high school. There really, I don't know if I fell through the cracks or what, but there wasn't an art program that I really got sucked into at my high school.
Okay. Is that something you were like wishing that at the time that they offered? And
I think I would have wanted more of that, but like we had block scheduling too. I don't know. It was just, it's like, I didn't know how to fit that in or what the options were. I felt like I was just going through high school trying to get all of my classes done. And like, I didn't see space in my schedule to be able to do more of that. I don't know. It like just did not, I don't know. It just didn't really seem like an option for me, but like I might have missed something. I don't know.
Yeah. How is this not an option?
Yeah. So I went to college for early childhood education in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And then my first semester there, I realized my error. And I was like, oh no, I want to go to art school, and also MassArt, it's in-state tuition. I'm paying out-of-state tuition right now to go to a state school in Rhode Island. Like,
and you were living here.
What am I doing?
Okay.
No, I was living in Providence at the time.
Okay.
And then so I started trying to get a portfolio together while I was in school, just doing my normal classes in Rhode Island at Rhode Island College. Submitted a portfolio to try and transfer and did not get into MassArt. My portfolio was trash. It was
so you were just doing your own projects, your own, trying to figure out how to make a portfolio.
Yes, and actually, it was around the same time. So like the portfolio was slides. So you must have had to do slides too.
Yes, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
You just like brought it back. I have like an image of my slides now that just came to mind. So I completely forgot that we had to make the slides.
Wasn't that crazy? It's like, I don't even remember back then how we got those developed onto slides.
It was a whole thing though. I remember
so nuts.
Trying to figure out.
Can you imagine being on the receiving end of that too? I mean, it was like that for
slides
forever, like generations.
Yeah.
Basically, but like they must have been like in these jargon drums, looking at these slides. Man, things have changed a lot.
I think they had, it's like bringing back so much now. I think they had, MassArt offered something while you were getting your portfolio ready for like parents or people to go see a critique of the slides beforehand to help you with like telling your child what they should be working on.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure that. I don't think I made that up.
That's great.
I forget what it was called, but they like invited parents in.
That's awesome because they want people to succeed. They want people to submit the best stuff or like the right stuff that'll give them a good comprehensive view. Yeah. So did you live on, well, I guess they had dorms, right? Because I know they've built more
built one more since I was there.
Okay.
You were only guaranteed 1 year. You were guaranteed a dorm your first year, and then there was a lottery, and a lot of people ended up getting apartments after the first year, but I did live there the first year.
That's cool. When I went, I was transferring in a few years after high school. It took me a few years to get myself in there eventually. And
so tell me so you said you didn't get in at first.
Yeah.
So then what did you?
Yes. So I then ended up transferring to Massasoit.
Okay.
And same thing. I started taking classes in Brockton and then realized, what am I doing at the Brockton campus? The Canton campus has great studios. I mean, the Brockton campus has some too, but a lot of the art teachers are working over at the Canton campus at Massasoit.
I've heard that, that they have a pretty good thing
really
going
good
on in Canton.
A fantastic program. Scott Ketchum was a professor of mine there. Linda Dunn, Robert Priest, Professor Brown, I believe, was an art history teacher there. Really great program, and they've designed their program to be compatible with MassArt's foundation program. Okay. So I don't know if they still have it, but
that's awesome.
They were able, when I was there anyway, to select 3 students of theirs to transfer into MassArt every year. So I submitted my portfolio, my application to my professors.
Okay.
And then they're the ones that said, yep, you're in.
Oh, wow.
So I applied to MassArt once. I didn't get in. And then I found another entry point.
That's great.
And I've told this story before, but they had to choose 3 students for 3 specific majors.
Okay.
And the art ed, another person applying for art ed, which is what I wanted, was just like technically her skill base was just higher than mine.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, I don't want to compete.
Choose a different.
I just chose printmaking, which I also loved and took a printmaking class and could get in as a printmaker.
Yeah.
But then once I got in to MassArt and all the paperwork was signed and I was officially in, I switched my major to art ed. And
that's great.
So I kind of worked the system. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like
you gotta do what you gotta do.
I know it's a big deal, a big investment to go to college. And
then you were you commuting or did you
live?
Okay.
Yes, I commuted in. So I lived Quincy, Rockland. I think I was in Hanson for part of it, but yeah, I would drive in. I would take the train. But it was great because I was a painter, so I had a big, beautiful painting studio, and it was kind of like home base there, you know? So it's like you could just hang out in your studio and in between classes or this and that.
You always had a place to go if you had the studio space.
Yeah. So what was your major? Did you choose a major like right away? Did you know what you were going in as, or how did that?
I had no idea.
Okay.
I think we might have briefly talked about this.
Yeah.
Basically, you had to choose within your first year, which I didn't know. I just knew that all I knew at the time was I like to draw and paint, so I guess I'll do illustration, which is what I ended up doing.
Okay.
And not really realizing till the end of probably my senior year that, like, I don't know, there's so many other things I wanted to try. There wasn't much room in your schedule with, like, the foundation classes and everything to explore. At least I felt that. That was my experience, where I didn't really get to explore that much. But they did teach, like, just mostly technical, mostly still life type of stuff, not really learning, like, a style yet. So the whole time was just kind of very realistic, learning how to do things realistically, which I'm glad I did. But definitely not till the end did we I literally took a class called experimental illustration, and that kind of opened up the idea of more mixed media for me that didn't feel possible.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So what type of what type of mediums were you using, and were you in the studios over in the Kennedy building? That's where the painting studios are. Because I feel like I remember you being in, like, Tower.
We were in the Tower building.
Yeah, so that's kind of, in my brain, that's where all, like, the computer stuff is happening. And illustration in my brain also brings computer stuff to mind, but you're, like, not a computer girly.
No,
and
I'm not.
And the illustration program is, like, drawing and painting.
Yes. Yeah. We did have to do at least, one graphic class.
Okay.
I got by.
So you're in Tower, you're doing drawing and painting. And so are you guys exploring different mediums? Are you just doing, like, when you say illustrations, is it basically like, okay, you're doing still lifes, but all, like, small? I'm imagining everything kind of small to go into a book.
Right.
Or something.
We could work large if we wanted to.
Yeah.
A lot of thumbnails were involved, I think. That was the most stressful part for me. Everything had to be thumbnail sketches, everything. That probably is why I do what I do now. There's not a lot of planning involved, but there was so much planning for everything that you had to show, just thumbnail sketches for all of your work. And everyone was working in different mediums, but yeah, mostly painting, I'd say. And then the experimental class, he brought in learning how to do transfers, tape transfers, acrylic medium transfers. I think that's what they use. Texture, just a little bit of everything that everybody loved that class. But I took it my senior year.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a second, I could be doing this?
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to do more of that, but.
That's really cool. Okay, so that sort of is where you started thinking about collage and kind of continuing on with that.
Yeah.
So in your studio practice, were you starting to mess around with collage at that point? Did you just, how was that transition for you?
I was trying to think about that because I knew maybe we would talk about it. How did I even begin? I feel like it didn't really segue straight into it.
Yeah.
I've always loved paper, and I feel like we all probably have, when we were little, did the little collages of just words that we cut from our 17 magazines. I feel like all of us probably did that, but I definitely did that a lot.
That's coming back in a big way
With
vision boards.
Vision board. Yeah, I'm like, oh, there was a
Mood
name
boards.
for that, and we didn't know.
Yeah.
We were doing it in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh my gosh, I have big giant collage. One of my best friends made me, and it's all photos and words.
Is it from a while ago? Or it's from
no,
now?
yeah, it's from when we were in 6th grade. So it's
That's
hilarious to look
yeah,
at
that's
now,
the
but
best. The kind of words that you would choose.
Exactly.
Laugh.
I know. So sweet. All right. So so you're doing collage kind of all along the way.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your collages that I'm looking at now, when I sort of scroll through your website or look at your work, the source material is just so interesting to see what that must be. So it looks like there's all sorts of period things. Are you getting magazines from the 60s?
Yeah.
In some of these? Okay.
Yeah. Whenever I have to write any kind of artist bio or anything, I always explain that everything, I'm very picky about it. So anything from the 50s to the 80s, and everything after that is like a little too glossy and crisp, and I like the old.
Okay,
so
it's actually about the paper quality too.
Sometimes. Yeah, the glossy, I don't prefer like a glossy page, but if there's something really awesome that I feel like I just have to use the image, I will use it. But yeah, everything old. So I have a lot of old books and magazines that I've just been collecting and acquiring. And
from
it's
where?
super affordable.
Where are you finding these things?
Savers is awesome for it. Yeah, I always tell people that too, because the majority of my books are from Savers, different Savers. When I was living in JP, there was a really awesome Savers in, I want to say, Roxbury, maybe West Roxbury.
Okay.
It was the best.
Great.
Plymouth is pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, all different Savers. And then no matter what vintage or antique store I might be at, I always look. There's usually something. Old National Geographics.
I have a collection of those.
You do.
Yes. Maybe I'll let you pick one out. But I've been collaging with them forever too. I actually got them from a friend's grandfather had passed and just left this collection of National Geographics. No one was like, we don't know what to do with these. And I was in art school at the time, so I was taking them, I was cutting them up and making collages, and then I would make paintings of the collage.
Oh, cool.
So my collages were sort of my sketches. That's like what this, sorry viewers, you can't see this painting, but
I know. There's a big, beautiful painting right here.
I'll have to stick a picture on top or something.
That was it, like a landscape?
Yeah.
Mostly?
And because I was also taking photos I was using photos that I had taken, a lot of them from Yellowstone and like just a cross country trip I was doing. But yeah, I was mixing those with things I was cutting from National Geographics. Or do you ever use photographs, or is it all sort of like books and magazines?
Yeah, mostly books and magazines.
Okay, and what about transfers? Are you doing a lot of transfers too, or it's just cutting?
Yeah, I started thinking about them again recently, and just because I've been wanting to do a little more mixed media. But no, I haven't done that in any of the work that you would see online. Like none of that.
And what size are your pieces?
Pretty small. It's always within, because they're always from books, and sometimes it's literally a page from a book that will be the backdrop. So I always work small. And I think I just prefer working small in general.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, I like working small.
Okay, yeah. I was kind of wondering about that because, right, like your source material is small. So if you're going to, be cutting pieces from that, it makes sense that your piece would be about the same size. I was trying to imagine what it might look like if you did a big piece, but using those. And it's almost like it would have to be like a map, like kind of something going on over here and something going over here. That would be so interesting to work out a composition at a different scale. Where are you making your art out of? Do you have studio space that you've carved out at home?
I carved out a whole room.
Great.
I'm very lucky that I found something, where I call it my studio, but it's just a room that I've made. I've acquired, honestly, so many books that I needed a whole room for it. So,
my gosh, that's awesome. So how do you keep your materials organized? You have all these books and magazines, and they're all half cut up and falling apart. So
exactly.
Yeah, how do you deal with all that?
That's a new development, is being organized. Like, I will say, I went a long time with working in kind of chaos and having the books all over the place, having like the books that I'm like mostly using at the time, whatever phase I'm in, like I keep those out. But I do have like little scrap boxes of different sizes, little scraps and medium, and then pages. I have like folders of pages that I've ripped out that I want to use, and I just keep them separate. So I am starting to be a little more organized, but that's just, I think, just where I'm at. And
dude, I want to come in there and just
you should
mess around. So what's your process? How do you, if you're are you working on multiple pieces at a time?
Sometimes, yeah.
And when you're starting a new piece, where does that begin? Do they have different starting points, or do you find like a pattern with?
It's always different.
It's always different? Okay.
Yeah, it's always different. I've been using, so I don't know if you've heard of the Instagram has a wonderful collage community, basically, and they do this thing called Februlage, which is always February. I'm not sure why they chose February. I forget. There's probably a reason, but they call it Februlage, and there's a prompt every single day. So you just work from the prompt, whatever ones you want to. I don't do every day. I just kind of chose which ones that I was inspired by, and it kind of forces you to do something. And I felt like I kind of needed that too this month. So if there's a theme or something, I will start with that theme in mind and kind of looking through everything for the main image. Yeah, it's really always different, so it's hard to say. Sometimes there is just like a scrap that I absolutely love that I've just been thinking about and I want to use it. So I start with that scrap and kind of see what works, or it's really always different. So I guess.
And what type of prompts is there like language or storytelling behind the scenes in some of your images? Or do you feel like you're just very much like just thinking composition, texture?
There's usually a story, and I think I keep it very vague, and I keep it vague on purpose. But it's usually personal, and it's usually sometimes there's even a lyric or something that I really love that I've just been thinking about, and so I try to interpret that, and it's usually very, very vague and not so I don't know what the word is. It's not exact. Like it can be open to interpretation.
Yeah.
I like to keep my stuff very open.
I love that. Well, it makes it like approachable to a lot of different
everyone
people
to kind of relate in their own way.
Yeah. I can't remember when I first became aware of your work. We have so many mutual friends in the small art community.
We've lived these parallel lives.
I know.
MassArt and Trader Joe's.
And like even growing up in towns
next
right near each other, like we should have connected.
I know.
When we were younger, you know. And you had the cover feature on Artie Pants magazine.
Yeah.
Marianne Gibbons, you've known her for a bit.
I met her when I moved back, so I'd say that's like a pretty important thing to mention, is I was living in the city for so long and then kind of just became unaffordable, to be honest. So I moved back. I found an affordable place in Plymouth and was just kind of like, I'm moving back. And
great.
I'm really glad I did. The timing was perfect. It was right before COVID. But as soon as I moved back, I was kind of like, okay, I need to really seek out something, or just whatever's going on, or a person, an event, something. And I had seen her plant shop, plants and ponytails that she had at the time. And she had a table at the Kingston Farmers Market, which that was the first kind of little exploration that I did when I came home, was like, there's a farmer's market in the parking lot of the mall that I grew up going to.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so funny. I know, because that mall, sadly, there's almost no businesses in there, but the parking lot is jumping.
Yeah. The parking lot was jumping. The farmer's market was awesome.
Marianne.
And I sought her out.
She started that whole thing, didn't she?
She started it, yeah.
She started the farmer's market, and then she was selling plants there,
Yes.
and then she went on to do several pop-ups for plants and ponytails. Ended up getting her brick and mortar, which was an amazing spot. And okay, so in my head, this is where I think I started seeing your work through Marianne. So things Marianne.
I do have her to thank for
Yeah, she's such a huge champion of local artists. I mean,
extremely supportive.
With Plants and Ponytails, she was always finding ways to support local arts, and then now she's transitioned into creating a art publication to give people a voice and a place to show their art in this really interesting way. The whole magazine itself almost feels like collage in a way.
The layout itself.
Yeah. Our whole Artie Pants magazine, it's an amazing magazine. When you're looking through, even the ads are done in a way that feels like collage, or you're looking at art. It doesn't even really seem
they're
like
part of it. She makes it so it's just part of the aesthetic of the magazine. I think she keeps it very aesthetic.
It's gorgeous. And so were you in the first edition of it as well?
I was. For that one I submitted. There was no theme for the first one.
Yes, I was in that one too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was exciting.
It was very exciting.
It's still exciting.
It's always exciting.
It's published.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will use it as collage materials.
Table. Yeah.
You can't cut up an Artie Pants magazine, though.
No,
I mean,
there's certain things you can't cut up.
I know.
I was going to ask you when you said you had a collection of National Geographic. I was going to say, but do you cut them up? Because I feel like some people,
I do.
That would be like a no.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard to do it, especially when there's something interesting on both sides.
Yes.
I mean, how
Have
do you
ever
handle
made
that?
a photocopy?
Okay, no.
Depends how it comes out, but
Because I don't have a good printer.
neither do I.
So, yeah, so
That's
what do you do?
funny.
You just have
We
to make the
don't have
choice.
good printers. We should have good printers.
I know, but printing's expensive.
It is. That's like one of my, when I say collage is affordable, I'm like, okay, but the one thing I want to splurge on and spend a lot of money on is a good printer and scanner someday. Mm-hmm. So,
Well, that's what I did when I was at MassArt, and I was doing all these collages to essentially be the drafts or the sketches for my paintings. Oh my gosh, because you'd get a certain amount of credits at the printing lab.
yes.
And I would always be hounding people for their credits because I was just printing so much.
Can I have your credits?
Yeah, and just cutting everything up. And man, that was such a great resource, having those nice printers to be able to just endlessly print on. For your creative practice, you're doing sign painting, and you are doing collage in your home. And I know you're now doing some volunteering at Cardinal Cushing.
I really wanted a change of just something, a change of scenery, a change of pace, a different experience, being in a very different environment. And that's something I actually got connected with through North River, because I didn't know that Cardinal Cushing had such an art program until they had the show at North River. I was like, this is so cool. I didn't know how I could be involved, but I just was asking around, and Julia connected me to Randy.
Yes.
And he was just very open to whatever.
Amazing.
They always need hands. And so he just was open to me coming in like once a week. I'm doing once a week, usually on Tuesdays, just assisting in the art room and kind of just being, I wouldn't say I'm not making any lessons or anything like that. Everything is for the teachers, even like the behavioral stuff is left to the teachers and the assistants, but I'm just there kind of
helping out, being involved,
making sure, like
I love it.
using
So
scissors.
To catch up, if anyone isn't aware of Cardinal Cushing, so first of all, Julie Driscoll is now the executive director of North River Art Society. So she did a show, or the North River had a show of student artwork, right? Okay, and Randy is the head of the art department over at Cardinal Cushing, which is a residential facility for adults with developmental disabilities. And they also have day participants as well, right? Like, do they have people coming in just for the day, for the programs, and then leaving, do you know? Or is everyone living on site?
People come in for the day as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
Some
great.
of them do go home, I believe. But a lot
That
of
place
them
is
live
amazing.
there.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I volunteered there. I think it was volunteer hours or some sort of internship at the end of my art education program at MassArt. I got connected over there somehow, and
Were you in the art room?
I was in the art room with Randy, and it was just so amazing. The art it just explodes out of the art room. I remember walking all around campus and getting a tour and just being blown away at
It's all over the place.
all over.
Yeah,
Like they are the design team, like the students and staff, everyone working in the art is like the design team for the whole place.
The whole place.
For
The
all of their
cafe.
events.
Yeah. Yeah, they offer, like, I think last time I was there last week, they were preparing for a benefit or fundraiser, and they were making St. Patty's centerpieces to sell.
So
for
cool.
So whenever they do any kind of event, there's always stuff that the art students have made to bring.
Amazing.
Yeah, and
I
it really
love
is
that.
like all over the place. You go to the cafe, and they always have seasonal art for whatever's going on at the time.
So they have the cafe, which
Yeah.
is great, beautiful building, and then next to it they have the thrift shop. Do they have any collage materials? Have you gone in there shopping for source material?
I actually haven't gone in there.
Yeah.
So I believe they close kind of early. So during
Okay.
my time there, it's crazy. I haven't even thought of that. Like I didn't look in there for collage books, but
I have no
Yeah,
idea
I
if they have them or not, but
yeah, no, it's always worth a shot. And I just need to go in there in general. But
do they sell
Yeah.
some of I think they might sell some of the stuff people
Yeah.
make
yeah,
in
that was
art
another thing
too.
I did help out a little bit with. It's called Unique Boutique, and so they have like a very intimate, small classes where people are working on stuff that then the teacher will kind of finish and touch up and sell, make it like ready to sell. And so she just kind of
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's so much I have so much interest in art on a production team.
yeah,
Right? Like the art that, the teacher may be like finishing it up to just kind of fine tune it, but it wouldn't exist at all if
they
the
didn't.
artist hadn't started it and done their work and added their inspiration. I mean,
Exactly.
it's like sign painting, right? Do you work with other sign painters?
I do.
So there's other sign painters on the team.
Yeah.
So you guys are helping out,
There's
working
always a
together,
team, yeah.
collaborating. I worked at a frame shop, fine art. I did fine art framing years ago. Also, I think I was at Massasoit at that point. Lots of people working together to build essentially these sculptures, right? Like these
Right.
big, beautiful frames to put art in. Local pottery. I was on a potter team, working production. I think there's
Yeah.
so much value to that. And I think that's really cool that Cardinal Cushing is doing that for their participants in their program, not only through that, where you're saying, what is it called? The Unique Boutique?
Unique Boutique. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It is.
So they're doing the Unique Boutique, but also working together collaboratively to be decorating and the whole place. I mean, it's real. It's like real ownership over your thing. Like they're welcoming people in to
Yeah.
an event. They've done all the decor, and many hands make light work. And I really like highlighting how that is true in the arts world, because I think a lot of times as artists, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to just like, you're just one
Be
artist.
alone
It's like, it's lindseyboss.com. Like, I
Right.
know it's bethbailey.com or whatever.
Right.
That's not my website. But, but there's a lot of pressure on that. But it's great working on a production team. Like, I got a big pottery order last year. Levitate needed, I think I ended up doing like 150 mugs for them.
Oh, cool.
And I'm a small batch studio here. I couldn't, that would have
That's
taken
a
me
lot.
forever. Even 150 was a lot.
That's
but
a
I had
lot.
some friends, my sister-in-law, one of my other friends came in. People who are just like my friends and students would be hanging out, and they'd be, color filling different areas for me. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know that I could have done it otherwise.
Yeah.
So just working in
great.
production is
It adds such
really
a
interesting.
a different vibe too, and I feel like it teaches you. Like I need that. I need to the team thing, like learning how to work with other people.
I need to
And
get
it's
you
a
in on
different aspect.
creative pathways stuff more for the collage portion of my program. I don't know why I hadn't thought about this until now. This is why we have these conversations, so to figure stuff like this
all
out that we
coming together.
should have already thought about. So I have the traveling sketchbooks that go to different professional artists. I got to send one with you. They go to professional artists, my workshops. You can go to the Frame Center and doodle in one. So they're moving around, and then I cut into them.
Oh.
this is actually, did you see my aura drawings at the
Yes.
Wicked
I
Women
did.
Makers Market? So
And I saw
those
your
collage
binder,
materials.
your
Yes.
binder of organized, like, different themes of
Yes.
imagery.
Yes. So
Yeah.
all the collage material I'm cutting from the sketchbooks. And then they used to just be in envelopes. But for the Wicked Women Makers Market, I needed to come up with a solution so I could travel with all my collage stuff a little bit easier. So I did the binder.
You came up with that
So I have like a section of all wave or water. I have a section
Yeah.
of all clouds. And
That's great to have.
I know. Well, I'm imagining your home studio is just like an entire room of that, essentially.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I never thought of organizing it in terms of, like, these are waves, these are astrological imagery, and like all kinds of different things. But
when you're working on a piece, do you ever are you always like cutting and sourcing everything for that one piece, or are you ever kind of like going through and just kind of chopping
that.
down something where you're like, I'll be able to use this.
Yeah.
You don't know how, but
I do that.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then that's what goes into like your little boxes.
my little bins. Yeah.
Your little bins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I see something cool, I never remember, like, which book did I
Right.
see that cool thing in?
Right.
So I will cut it out and
you
be
see
like,
it,
I
cut it.
definitely need to use that in the near future.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, okay, so for the collage stuff I'm doing is with when I'm working with the collage program, doing the greeting card workshop somewhere, using these collage materials. I'm talking to them about it being a production team because so many people have already contributed to these sketches
Right.
to begin with. Then, maybe you're making the collage, but like 40 people already contributed to make the marks on that one
Stuff
little
that they're using.
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
there's almost like it helps loosen people up a little bit too, because the pressure isn't all on them in a way.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to have you at one of my programs. We'll have to
Yeah.
connect with
Okay.
scheduling. I have a tween program, Teens Tweens Tuesdays, T3.
Oh, wow.
That's what it's called at the Whitman Public
I won't
Library.
even try to say it right now.
That is going to be on April 8th. It's in the evening, and they're a great group. Yeah. Oh my gosh, a real genuine
awesome.
collage artist could be with us. That would be awesome.
Everyone is a real, genuine collage artist.
I know. Yes,
Yeah,
this is how I feel
everyone.
too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, I do feel that way too. It's like we all have creativity. It's just how it comes through. Like,
Yeah.
I
or
feel
just
like
doing it.
Yeah, like I
main
think in
thing.
pictures a lot of the time. I feel like you do too when you're saying like you're inspired by lyrics maybe, and so you kind of visually interpret that.
Always. Yeah.
That's something that I'm really interested in talking with my program participants about, because like you don't actually even need any new ideas. Just like whatever you're thinking in your head, let's just talk about visual language. How do you translate that? Was that a big conversation when you were in college, visual language in general? Because I feel like in my mind, you're in an illustration program. Are a lot of people trying to gear themselves up to work illustratively and like doing books and drawing?
I think that was
no?
the main thing that people were thinking about, only because at that time and when you're maybe that age and the world hadn't quite opened up yet, you kind of think that that's all there is.
Yeah.
And I know for me, like, I'll speak for myself, I really sort of thought illustration, that's kind of all there is. Like books, children's books, until you kind of experience the reason why you're doing this podcast. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many options. There's so many routes you can go.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, a lot of people were, but sort of that's because we thought that was all there was. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a whole wide world out there. So you're doing sign painting, you're making your collages. I know you're selling your work through your website. I saw you had an online shop.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And we were, as I was saying, we were both vendors at the Wicked Women Makers Market.
Love that market so much.
We just got an email from them. I don't know if you checked your email today.
Not today.
Just before you came in, I saw an email came in from Julia and Grace,
Cool.
the women who run Wicked Women's Makers Market. And it was Julia doing a call, just basically saying that North River has opened the applications to be a vendor at the Memorial Day Arts Festival. Ooh. Have you gone to that festival before?
Yeah, I went
so
last
much fun.
year. I did a little, like a 2-hour volunteer thing there.
Oh, great.
It was such a good, oh my God, just everything about it. The day, the weather, I don't know, everything about it was just so pleasant.
So nice. I love it. And it's in this, the place North River is this like just quintessential little like New England neighborhood, old neighborhood, great interactive art opportunities. I think it was this past year they were doing the fish prints, right? They had like mono printing.
At the actual festival?
Yeah, at the actual festival.
Okay.
And there was these rollers and you'd ink up these like rubber fish.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It was really cool. There's so many things to do there. Do you do many markets? Would you do?
I don't.
Yeah.
That's something I've definitely had to figure out for myself, what works. I don't know that doing a lot of them is for me. But I love the Wicked Women so much that I kind of reserve some of my energy and like basically what I have, I will reserve for that. I have done a few other ones. It's just not something that I'm able to do all the time. And so I kind of pick and choose. Like,
same.
Where I'm going to, put the energy and.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like, I feel like if you really want to make your business with markets, you have to do a ton of them because there's so many great markets, but if it's an awful rainy day and no one comes out, it's so much work, you know, like I know people who do a lot of markets and they have it down to such a science. They go in, they set up, it's so quick,
setup,
they get
everything.
Oh my gosh.
Down to a science.
Yeah, you get a whole, you get a real education setting up next to someone like my sister-in-law, Kayla Gilmore. She shared space with us at Wicked Women's, and it was like Lindsay and I, Lindsay Purcell and I we were doing the aura drawings. Lindsay was doing the readings. We had like some branded merch we did together. I was selling pottery, of course. And we were there the day before. I mean, we took over a little building, basically. Yeah. We completely designed the wood carving shed. It was so much funny. It was so much fun. But it was funny because Kayla lives in the city and she had another market she was doing. She's a market girly. She's crushing. Yeah. But she's just like, well, yeah, whatever you guys want to do, whatever you want to do. We had this whole vision. We're like so into it. We had a blast. Lindsay was the creative mind behind that whole thing. I was really kind of like, I'll be your assistant.
The
like, yes, let's do it.
Of the barn.
Yes, well, and she's an experiential marketer, so she knows how to really like take over whole space. But long story longer, we basically like left a whole section of the building for Kayla. Yeah, and she came in 30 minutes
and just set it up
and almost sold out. I mean, so good. But it's like she's got her design down. She knows how the customers are coming in and seeing her work. And, you know, Lindsay and I had so much fun, but we definitely had like a debrief after. We're like, okay, if we do this again, we're going to do this. And there's so much little zhuzhing going around. Experience. Are you finding like, so for me, I love doing that, but I can't do a ton of the markets. And I'm loving gallery representation. So I'm getting wholesale or consignment accounts. And so I'm getting 50% of the sale, but I just make it and send it off. And
and you're kind of all over, right? Like you have stuff in Maine, right?
I don't have anything in Maine. No, I'm in Brookline at Literally Local. I'm at Clay Lounge in SOA. Okay. And at In Good Company in Southie. Okay. So like I have a lot of like Boston representation.
Are you always at Levitate, or was it one?
Levitate did that one big order with me, and I believe they still do have some mugs for sale at Derby Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at their Derby Street location, they have the mugs. Okay. So where are you on that front? Are you trying to get your work into more galleries, boutiques, just looking to sell direct? Like, what do you?
I think I'm always trying to figure that out. I think. Because of Trader Joe's, luckily, I have that job that pays my bills, and I've decided that I'm just the kind of person that I need the comfort of knowing like that I have this consistent paycheck in order to even feel creative at all enough to do the other stuff. But it does take away from kind of the energy that I have to do the other stuff. So I'm always trying to figure that out. I'm definitely open to it. It's just, I think I maybe work better when it's kind of a just one-on-one or selling things, maybe not retail type of. Yeah, I mean, I'm never like closed off to it. It's just I'm really always trying to.
Oh, hey, how about Sarah White at Ritual? Are you gonna?
I need to get in there.
Are you gonna get some work to her?
There. I would like to
because she
has a wall, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I know she's just been renovating. It might still be in progress, but she put it out there that she wanted artists. So I got her some tiles. So she's hanging some of my ceramic tiles on the wall. But I've been pushing you to her. Okay. I feel like your work belongs there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because her and Marianne are also tight.
They are.
But yeah, there's something about the aesthetic there that I feel like your work just belongs there.
Yeah. I need to get in there.
Yeah.
I think she was at one. I met her, the first time I met her was at the Plants and Ponytails in Hanover. They had a Valentine's Day sort of pop up. And I met
was
her
that the
there,
swap?
And
no, that was the Franzgiving.
Yeah, that was different. I wasn't at the Franz.
Okay, I also missed the Franzgiving when people were bringing in plant clippings and sharing them with each other. But I was sad. I was sad to have missed that. What a great little community Marianne has got going on.
And I feel like I wanted to say that, like, coming from living in the city for a while, I feel like you really do think there's not going to be a lot going on. There is, like, almost more. But I don't know if it's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
Or a combination of, like, I seek it out more, or I think there's a lot going on that maybe you don't realize that you don't have to be in the city. And
totally.
We live in this, like, beautiful place that is inspiring in itself.
Yeah. So, I know. I wanted to live in the city when I was in college, but again, I just couldn't afford it.
Yeah, it's
I worked my way. It took me 8 years to get a 4-year degree.
Okay, because you worked the whole time.
Between the transferring and there was some years where I could only take a couple classes a semester because I was working, and I'm super proud of that. And I liked working my way through college, and it's something where I just had to be like, all right, I'm just not gonna be living in this city. I guess I'll go in and visit. But yeah, there really is a lot going on around here. You need to check out the Frame Center website because they've started to keep a tab on their website that shows where all the different local openings are. So you can see every weekend there's openings at all these different little galleries and art centers.
That's cool. They're going to have it in one place. Yes. And that's kind of why you did the window painting, right? You have the shows coming up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I was just in Frame Center getting work framed and stuff actually I had made at Massasoit and traded with another friend, like old stuff that's just been lying in piles. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this stuff framed.
Trade.
Yeah. Well, no, I was in there as a customer. I wasn't even expecting to get any jobs out of it. I was just in there. And then I was chatting with Dave, the owner, and he was saying about his vision of trying to promote more of what's going on at all the different places. And actually, I think he's going to be doing some work with Artie Pants.
Yes.
So cool. Yes. And so this is his whole vision. He wants to highlight all the different things going on. And so the window painting I did, we'll swap it out every couple months, showing highlighting 4 different local openings.
That's really awesome.
I know.
Yeah, that really
I would love to see a show of your work.
I would like to have one.
I love your work so much.
That is something I would like. Just like a solo show. I think I think about it down the line, just having a solo show.
Do you have work built up at your house? Like, do you have a whole bunch of work that
I do?
If we got it framed up,
I do. Yeah, framing is always the question. They're weird sizes. Kind of how to display things. There have been times where I've like heavily been submitting maybe some proposals for shows and not getting them, and that's fine. It's kind of like that's the behind the scenes stuff. Like I'm always kind of like submitting and thinking of what I'm going to do next, but it doesn't always work out.
Well, it's like grants too. I talk about my successes with grants and grant writing a lot, but like there's lots of grants I apply for and I don't get.
Lots
like,
of rejections. Yeah.
You just take something like MassArt. I don't take no for an answer. You can not accept me.
Yeah.
And usually I can look at my portfolio from my first submission. I'm sure those slides are somewhere. Yeah. And I can be like, yes, you're correct. I didn't get in for a reason.
What? Yeah.
But same thing. If you don't get into a show, it could just be not the right fit or timing. Same thing with the grants. It might just be, whatever, better applicants trying to get in there. But
luckily, that's one thing I think I'm good at accepting is like, it wasn't the time.
Yeah.
Like this was not the time for this to work out. So I'll just, when the time comes, I'll try again.
So how do you describe your work? You say you're using vintage materials.
Yeah.
And what else? How would you describe?
Yeah, I've been working on like, I don't know if you've seen more so like on the book pages, little tiny little cutouts. And that's kind of like, when I think of a series that I'm doing that's ongoing, that's where I'm at. That's what I think of. But then sometimes I do some other stuff that is very different from that. And I think that's kind of more early, or maybe I'm just imagining, like, I think that's a little more popular than the stuff that I actually prefer.
So I saw a piece of yours recently that was like, I think it is like a horse, and then it looked like there's marbles or like rocks or something on it.
The gemstones.
Oh my gosh, the gems. That was so cool.
Thank you.
I thought it was like a flat lay.
Yeah.
Like that there were the gemstones on
top of it.
And you took the photo.
That's like a special instance where there's a shadow. So I look for like in the image, if there's a shadow already in the image itself, I will try to cut it so that there's just enough of the shadow still in the cutout that when you put it on, whatever you're going to put it on, that shadow is still there and it kind of looks like it's 3D.
I love that. Okay, other tips and tricks. What are your favorite tools? Are you using X-Acto blades? How are you cutting?
I'm using X-Acto. I'm using scissors. I like little scissors. Little scissors are key.
Like sewing scissors, or you just...
I have like 2 pairs of sewing scissors.
Oh, okay.
Fiskars, I believe.
Okay. Love it. I just bought some big sewing scissors for my sewing class.
You did?
I'm going to it tonight. I'm very excited.
Oh, it's tonight?
Yeah.
Is it with Olivia?
Yeah,
tonight?
it's the second. I think it's 6 classes.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. I'm bringing my pattern and my fabric and my sewing machine.
That's so exciting.
It's going to be awesome. But like just the new tools is so fun. Yeah. What about like adhesives? What are you using for adhesives?
Very simple. Just glue sticks. And I've tried all different glue sticks, and Staples has the best glue stick.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I think.
You heard it here first.
Yes, Staples. I could be wrong, just from my experience.
Oh my gosh, Staples.
I've been like, wow, these are really good glue sticks. Staples brand.
I love it. And are you doing finishing a medium on top or no?
No, I haven't been.
Okay. And if you are displaying the work, are you doing it with glass over it?
When I think about showing the book pages, I think about showing them very raw and maybe not with glass, but they're so delicate that I'd have to figure that out.
Interesting.
I really like matte. Like, I don't love gloss. So it could be a case of like mounting it on something, maybe like a foam or something like that, and keeping just the image itself with no glass or protection around it.
And are you worried about the archival quality of your Staples glue sticks?
Yeah. Like if I do sell something, I always kind of make sure, like, go around the edges, kind of pick them up and go around if I can, and make sure that it's okay.
And what about surfaces? Are you putting everything onto like a sheet of watercolor paper, or it's just the backgrounds magazine and the paper itself? Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll like I'll wrap it up. I'll package it and make sure that there's cardboard with it so that
So delicate.
So delicate, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the base paper is just the magazine.
Yeah.
That is so wild. I don't know why. That's
maybe
just like...
I should rethink maybe like putting it on something.
No, I don't think you should change anything. I think it's just like... when you're thinking about displaying them, you almost want... You don't want to lose that. You want people to
like
almost
part
see
of it.
how... how delicate it is. And
There's
maybe the paper curling up a little.
Clip, there's a way of hanging things with binder clips, like, that I've thought about a lot. Like, I think they actually make more aesthetic ones that are like not just office binder clips, but more for displaying. So you can have the nail and have the book page hanging from the binder clip, and like staying really delicate, and also having that like shadow behind it.
Okay, so you can see the binder clip.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Okay.
I like that look. I don't know how that would work, but
okay,
I do like that.
I love
just
that.
keeping the paper and keeping that very delicate.
And are you like a morning studio person or evening? And what are your shifts at Trader Joe's? Because Trader Joe's is like open many, many hours because of the after hours stocking and everything. So are you...
I'm a mid-shift person.
You're a mid-shift. Okay, so you're in the middle of the day. And what's the studio space like?
Early morning.
First of all,
good.
You're at the Hingham store, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys like in the garage or something?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I was working.
I'll keep it really positive on here, but it's a challenge. The workspace is a challenge.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like the reality of any studio space, right? Like my studio now is in my basement and it's covered with like, there's like an extra car seat on my table now.
Yeah, it's storage as well. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is the reality of any studio space. I feel like it can be difficult, but you get like towers of like boxes of cheese puffs next to you when you're working.
We do. Cheese puffs, cardboard baler, sink right next to us. The cold is coming in. So I think we've gone through 3 heaters. I've been there for maybe 4 heaters. I've been there for like 4 years. We've gotten a new heater every year because it like goes out. Yeah, it's a challenge.
How many artists are there on staff at that one store?
2. There's 2 of us. Yeah, and that's always different too, depending on the space and the store.
Yeah.
I was in Somerville before I moved back here, and they were a newer store, so they actually built with all of this in mind. And we had a space, and we had like a team. Yeah, because you were at Hanover, and that was tiny at the time as well.
Yes, we were actually in the attic.
Oh, you were in the attic.
There was a pull down. Did you ever see that space?
I've seen a different attic art space.
Okay, so
not in Hanover though.
This was in the break room. There was like a pull down ladder.
Yeah.
And and you'd climb up the ladder and go in there, and they did eventually move it though.
Was it because of like a safety issue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no one was hurt.
It's super hot up there.
We were very sad when it got.
I would love to work in the attic.
It was the best because it's just no one was messing with the stuff, and we moved into the area downstairs, like essentially the warehouse section where same. It sounds like just like what you're describing.
I think it's pretty similar to what Hanover used to be. Yeah.
So R.I.P. attic studio space.
Yeah. We joke about working in the attic and hang on, but I just think the safety issue it's just it's a no now.
Yeah, and then also you're just like eyes are completely off you. I mean, which is nice.
We're not engaged.
But
yeah.
I just have to point out too that it's wild to me that Trader Joe's hires artists at all.
It's a job that exists.
Like there's no reason. I mean, obviously I think there's a reason, but there's so many ways they could just have artists at a headquarters and be printing and sending stuff out, but they're not. They're choosing to employ full-time artists, often at least 2 per store.
Yeah. We always sort of fear that like that day might come, but knock on wood, it's part of like it's part of the culture there.
It's not even just, I mean, first of all, there's murals all around all of these stores. If you look up the big signs for all the end caps with the products they're promoting, but then every
single thing,
every individual sign across
every little thing,
all of the shelves, that's all hand drawn.
Yep.
Man, I really loved that job.
So how long did you do it for?
I don't know. It wasn't a super long time. Maybe a year or so.
Yeah.
And I was, there were 2 full-time artists and I was like the assist. So I would come on and just kind of help out with whatever
needs
had to be done. I occasionally got to do an end cap sign, but I was doing lots of those small signs. Yeah. Great job. And I feel like and not just feel like, my husband and I always say, like, we want to live our life in a way that, like, I could quit whatever job I have and go back and work at Trader Joe's. Yeah.
Yeah.
And live. So I'm always kind of like trying to live within those means, because that was a great job. And I did get to work creatively. But like you said, too, you're using all of that creative energy. It changes the level of energy you're bringing back into your own studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there's different levels of, it's changed throughout the years, obviously. As we get older, too, it's like we have a little less energy to give. There was a time that I think I could definitely work there all day, doing it all day long, and then go home and work on stuff all night long, and it's not where I'm at. But
are you doing everything with Posca markers there?
Yeah, Trader Joe's. Yeah.
Love Posca markers.
And Woodcraft.
Okay.
And there's another one, Zig something.
Oh.
I forget.
Okay, good.
But yeah, mostly Poscas.
All right. Yeah. I love Poscas. Okay, so if people want to find your work, they can go to Trader Joe's.
Go to the store and just look around.
Yeah. Just look around.
Yeah.
Look it. Do it. No, but you have the cover of issue 2 of Artie Pants magazine, as well as work inside as well, right? Do you have pieces inside that one?
That was just on the cover. Yeah.
Okay, and then the first one you have stuff in the booklet. Your website, lindseyboss.com, LINDSEYBOSS.com.
Yes, thank you.
Your Instagram as well, same, Lindsey_boss. And do you have any markets on the brain, or are you just kind of looking to potentially hop into Wicked Women Makers Market again next year?
I definitely hope to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm scrolling and I see some markets coming up, and I have moments of debating whether I want to do it, and I don't think so.
Maybe Ritual.
See. Yes.
Maybe Ritual Yoga Studio in Weymouth.
To be in touch with her.
Okay. I'm going to force this to happen because I love the space Sarah's curated there.
Yeah, even just the color, from what I've seen, like the color of the wall and everything.
She's got such a gorgeous aesthetic.
She has a very simple one that I did that has a little star, like holographic stars on it. Ooh. I think she has it somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and cool. There's sort of like an altar looking space.
And what about like direct commissions? Do people ever reach out to you? Yeah. Hey, can you make me this? Or just like if they see something they like on your Instagram,
yes,
they can just reach out.
Yeah,
and
that just happened recently. It was really awesome. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so always open to that, and every once in a while I'll do a commission. Commissions are definitely more difficult for collage stuff, but I am open to it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This is great. Thank you so much. I love it. Another South Shore girly and just living the creative life.
Yes, on the South Shore.
Awesome. Thank you, Lindsey.
Thank you.